Hey guys, Tony here, and as many of you know, I went to go see a Neil Young concert over the weekend. It was actually on Friday, Good Friday, if you're religious. I went to Providence, Rhode Island for the show. Traveled a couple hours away, and I gotta say, it was a fantastic show. Of course, like you'd expect me to say anything different. It was awesome, and I'm so glad I went. Um, Earl of Suave, I know you're going. I don't know, might even today or tomorrow or the day after. You're gonna love it. It's a fantastic show. My seats kind of sucked, but I mean they didn't suck. They're actually fine. Like I enjoyed everything. Um, but they weren't close. I was in the balcony, which was fine. I went. I kind of went into it knowing that I was just gonna buy the cheapest seats, and I was just happy to be there. The theater was really small, smaller than the Oakdale in Wallingford, Connecticut, where I saw the first leg of this tour. So yeah, this is called the Twisted Road Tour or the Lanois Tour. This might actually be called the Lanois Tour, and the first one was Twisted Road. So yeah, I saw that about 5 or 6 shows in on the first leg of that tour, and that time was much different. It was I wasn't really sure what to expect. I mean, I heard a bootleg like the day before my show, so I'd heard a lot of the songs, but I mean, that doesn't really tell you that much. I mean, you hear a cruddy bootleg, it's a completely different experience when you're there. So I wasn't that familiar with the songs, and I really didn't know what to expect. So I think that aspect of that show made that one just slightly better. Plus, that one was just much more spooky. I mean, it was more of it was a darker kind of show for some reason. I think because, well, what kind of happened with Neil and the story of this, I guess, is that he had lost a close friend and business associate, L.A. Johnson. He passed away suddenly, and I think that kind of tipped off this whole creative period for Neil. And he wrote a song about that called "You Never Call," which was probably recorded for Lanois, but was not included. I think there's always songs that Neil records that don't really make the cut on the album, but he's still performing it every time. So yeah, that first show I didn't know what to expect. Everything was still new. It was only about 5 or 6 shows in, so it was different and just a darker aura around the whole thing. This time I was more familiar with the songs, much more familiar, and the album had been released, and I think some time has passed, so Neil probably wasn't in such a darker place. I mean, he just lost a close friend of his, and I know that probably it affected him. So, but this one was, while it was the same material, he has not changed the set list at all, which is another thing. For some reason, he's not changing the set list. He's keeping it all the same, and it's just him solo, and he comes out and he plays 3 acoustic songs. Okay, the same as he's done on every show at this tour. Hey Hey My he opens with, which is phenomenal. A cool rendition of that. It's kind of different than the version that we're used to acoustically, and he does "Tell Me Why," which is off of After the Gold Rush, and it's phenomenal. And then he does "Helpless," which is another hit, and then he plays an acoustic with a pickup on it. So there's a lot of, I don't know, I'm not an expert on equipment, but it's probably like reverb and things like that on it. And he plays "You Never Call," which is a song about L.A. Johnson, and then he plays "Peaceful Valley Boulevard." That's one of my favorites. He does that so well. This time it seemed a much more of a rocking kind of show, much more in your face, and really well done. I think he was a bit more confident this time out. And the songs were kind of road tested and everything, and they've aged a little bit, so they're not so new. So yeah, big difference between the first show and the last one, and this last one. But still, it was great. The Hitchhiker is another great song from Lanois. I was looking forward more to the Lanois material for this show because I'd heard the album a million times over now, and I've heard a lot of those hits before. I mean, they're like greatest hits mixed with new songs. As a fan, I would love to hear more obscure stuff from classic albums, stuff I haven't really heard played live before. So yeah, I was more into the Lanois material, and that was the best of what he played. Also, I Believe in You, which is a classic off of After the Gold Rush. Fantastic. He plays, the stage setup is really cool. He's got like wooden Indians and these lamps hanging down for lights, and it's a stark kind of thing and really neat. There's like 4 panels, I don't know if it's like a material, and they shine lights through it, and a lot of little subtle things. But I know I'm jumping around here a lot, but it was a fantastic show. My wife and I went. We went to Rhode Island. We stayed overnight. We went out for dinner ahead of time. Well, actually, we went to Rhode Island, and then we went record shopping. And it's always cool to get new records at a new place. We went to a shop called the Armageddon Shop, and I'll show you what I bought. And then we went out, had a really, really nice dinner, kind of treated ourselves a bit, and and then we went to the show, and it was an excellent time. Bert Janich opened up, and he was phenomenal. Don't miss him if you're going to this tour, because he's such a great player. He's a legend, and it was unbelievable. People were really respectful, which was a cool thing. There wasn't a whole lot of shouting during songs, which you shouldn't do, especially at a solo show. If I failed to mention that, this is Neil's solo. He opens up acoustically, but then he switches to a solo electric. So if you're familiar with the Lanois material, you know it's solo electric, which a lot of people can't pull off. I think Neil pulls it off pretty well. The one exception I would say would be Cinnamon Girl. He plays that solo electric, and I'm not crazy about it. I just think it needs that backing band. It needs the beat, and it needs Crazy Horse, to be honest. And so that was the one thing both times that I was like, it was cool, he played it well, but for me, it doesn't do it. Cortez the Killer is another great one he does. Down by the River, he plays that, and that was phenomenal. And he closed with Walk With Me, which is the opener on Lanois, and he played the hell out of that. A lot of feedback, a lot of passion. I mean, there was a definite message in that song, and I think he got it across. I mean, it was a really, really cool show. He has a bass pedal, like this bass effect, which he hits, at certain times, and it shakes the place. I mean, it's like bass blasting in your face, and your seat is shaking, and it's disorienting, but it's really cool. He does that a lot on Rumbling, which, by the way, I have footage of. It's the only footage I took. They were really strict about that, which I can understand, and I probably shouldn't have done it, but I have a little bit of footage of that song, Rumbling, which I'll try and tack onto this video. Hopefully I can do that. Like I said, I was in the balcony, so it's not the greatest footage, but it is still fairly good quality, especially the sound. I think sounds pretty good. So, but yeah, great show. Really great. It's always an honor to see Neil play live. It just never once. I wrote a review. If you go to thrasherswheat.com, it's a Neil Young site, and you'll see the Providence show. A lot of the stuff I said here, I wrote, so it's probably more cohesive in the written review. But anyway, yeah, it was a phenomenal show. It's always an honor to see Neil, and never once has it seemed like phoned in. Never has it seemed like he was just there. He has to play that night. Usually he's always on, and it's always really passionate, and it's just phenomenal. So I bought a program. I didn't buy a t-shirt, just a program. Really nice program. A lot of drawings by Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts, is it? Eric Johnson. I'm thinking Elliot Roberts is his manager. Here are my tickets, by the way. A lot of drawings by him. He's also an artist. Neil sometimes has an artist on stage painting while he plays. That's his road manager. But anyway, yeah, cool program. A lot of cool drawings. I like this one, The Hitchhiker. I have a t-shirt from the first tour, and it's It's a lot like this, except it's a skull, not like a Joker or clown or whatever that is. A lot of cool, I mean, pictures taken from throughout his career. Tonight's the Night there. Shocking Pinks. Trans. Old Ways. Just really cool. A couple of pictures here I really like. This one here, taken from Peaceful Valley Boulevard, if you can see that. And this one's cool. Really quick. Kind of a stupid thing, but anyway. So I told you about this little Lanois flip book that I got. It's really tiny. I noticed a picture in here like right away, and I thought it was kind of cool, but it's a homeless guy walking with a cart down the street, and if you look through the book, you know that Neil's driving and they're taking pictures out the window. So they took a picture of this homeless guy walking down the street there, and I just happened to notice it, you know. And then when I got this, I bought this before the show, and I noticed this right away. They took that picture and they added Neil to it, and it was just really neat. So yeah, this is a stupid little thing. This is probably my favorite picture in this program. Neil at the microphone. But yeah, great show. Really glad I went. So anyway, let me show you the new records I bought. We went to this shop. It was called the Armageddon Shop. I guess there's one in Boston as well. So a lot of hardcore punk, a lot of doom metal, a lot of metal, things like that. Mostly small rock section. This was a cool find for me. $5. The Talking Heads, Fear of Music, produced by Brian Eno. I think it's an original. It has the embossed cover here. You can see that. From 1979. I think the songs people know more is like Life in Wartime, Life During Wartime. There's also Animals, Cities, Drugs, Mind, Paper, Memories Can't Wait, Electric Guitar, Zambra. Cool album. I listened to this earlier and really enjoyed it. Okay, can't really get that in there at the moment. This one I was really glad to see. I'm not sure if it's an official release. It's probably a bootleg. The Monks, Black Time. It's on black vinyl, so I don't know. It says an international. But yeah, cool find. I don't see this too often. I see another Monks album, but not this one, and I've wanted this for a while. This one here, Can, another Can album, Flow Motion. Very good. I enjoyed this, especially the second side. Much more experimental, more kind of primitive. The first side's more funky. This is from 1976, so you know it's not really their heyday again, but still very good. This next one here, I think Nathan Morales, I think he recommended this, but I was familiar. I'd heard of this album, and just been wanting to check it out. Tim Buckley, Lorca. This is a very experimental album, very avant-garde jazz influenced, but still really cool, really good. I enjoyed the hell out of this. Don't put it on at a party, you know, it's just very different. I guess a lot of the lyrics are based on the poet Garcia Lorca, his poetry, but very, very good. And lastly here, one I've wanted for a while, but just never got. These albums tend to be kind of pricey. Electric Wizard, Witch Cult Today. I haven't listened to this yet, but I am familiar with a couple songs on here, Dunwich and what was the other one? I think Witch Cult Today is the other one I was familiar with that I downloaded a while ago. But looking forward to this. This is on Rise Above. Heavy stoner metal, doom metal, I guess. Very, like a darker, heavier, slower Sabbath. Very good. So, glad to find that. And so yeah, that was my pickups there. And again, had a great time. And if you get a chance to see Neil on this tour, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend Neil at any time. But so I'm gonna try and tack on that song to this. So hopefully that works out. If not, I'll upload it separately. So Here you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope this wasn't too boring, and leave me some comments.
We are in a piece of heaven, waiting for the sun to rise, sun to rise. It's a life we can believe in, something we know all about. Changing, I can see it all.